So after 2.5 years with the White Sox, selling tickets door to door in the Sears Tower, which is not easy in a Cub town, and we didn't even acknowledge that the Cubs were competition. My old man called me one day and he goes, July 12, 1979, we haven't sold a single ticket, and since you don't have a single shred of talent, I would love if you'd come up with a promotion. I said, well, no offense, but why don't you? We haven't won a ball game in the last 10. He said, I don't have to, I own the club. I said, well, that's a little harsh. July 12, 1979, the White Sox were playing the Tigers. It wasn't even on the schedule. What am I supposed to do with that? I'm walking down Michigan Avenue thinking my life is over. I go back to being a bad drummer. I can live with it. All of a sudden, a lowrider goes by. And the windows are down. It's one of those beautiful, kind of summery days in Chicago. And Casey and the Sunshine Band are singing, that's the way, I like it. I'm thinking to myself, God, I hate disco. I created the only blemish on my old man's career. That was what my mother loved to tell me. So I'm walking down the street, I hear this, I think to myself, that's mildly amusing, being a rock and roller. I didn't like disco myself. So next morning, I swear to God, Steve Dahl on WLUP, a 5,000-watt invisible radio station in Chicago, blows up a disco record. At 10:05, he gets off the air. At 10:06, I'm like, want to do that live? He goes, do what? I said, blow up a disco record. He goes, why? I said, because we got a terrible club on the south side, and I think somebody might show up. He goes, are you crazy? I opened a shopping center last week in Indiana, and 3,000 people showed up. I said, 3,000 people? For us, it'd be a big house. He said, how many you seen? I said, 46,000. He goes, I don't think we should do it. I said, yes, we should. July 1st. We announce, to the good citizens of Chicago, bring a disco record between games of a twilight doubleheader. You'll never see that again, will you? Between the Tigers and the White Sox. We're going to put every disco record we collect in a dumpster with a stick of dynamite. And we're going to blow it up. Now, for those of you who are cynical, and I don't blame you, just when I'm done, dial in Disco Demolition and watch the 60-some different versions of what can happen when you let an imbecile, that would be me, loose as your promotion director. Ladies and gentlemen, bring your disco record. July 12th arrives, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I look out the window, and there are 35,000 people clutching their Donna Summers record. At 4 o'clock, we opened the gates. At 5 o'clock, we sealed the gates. There were 60,000 people inside. But that's not the romantic part. There were 40,000 people outside trying to get in. Traffic was backed up. Let's say this is Comiskey Park. This is O'Hare Airport. That would be 26 miles. Traffic was backed up to O'Hare Airport. Mayor Byrne calls me and goes, they're throwing disco records out on the freeway. I said, that's too bad because I need something to blow up. She said, you created gridlock. I said, what's gridlock? This was the wildest night in Chicago since Mrs. O'Leary's cow kicked over that, lantern. But what do I care? We've just set the all-time record for a nighttime attendance. We lose the first game. I'm walking around in the upper deck, getting ready to go down to second base to watch this explosion. There was a haze over the top of Comiskey Park, ladies and gentlemen. It was sweet smelling. People were buying racks of popcorn, and you all know what that means. The racks were stacked 15 high, times 24. They were very hungry. They were like facing the wrong way. Wow, what happens here? Hey, if you wait long enough, a ball game will break out. I go down to second base. We rolled the dumpster out. 250 feet in the air, the most beautiful explosion I've ever seen. At the very top was my career. 4 minutes after that explosion, 4 women slid down the foul pole, 15 guys jumped from the center field bleachers. In a matter of 12 minutes, there were 14,000 people on the field. It's very difficult to play the second game of a doubleheader. I'm thinking to myself, this is not good. The next day, 6 full pages in color in the Tribune. 5 in the Sun-Times, only black and white. Above the fold, the New York Times, we made every paper. I just had no idea what a terrible, terrible career decision I made that night. My mom said, God did this to you. I'm like, did he buy a full price ticket? My life changed instantly. I didn't work again for 20 years in the big leagues. They said I'd never work again. I worked for 3.5 major league teams. They were wrong.